You're bloody joking.
I'm deadly serious. This is one of the biggest orders we've ever landed, Bert. What did you want me to do? Tell the road to Simmons?
But the delivery date's bloody insane. We'll never get that lot out by the 25th.
There's no choice. We've got to.
Oh, you sales buds are all the bloody same. Why the hell couldn't you check with us first before making your crazy promises? Now, there is no way
now,
we're
look
going...
here, Bert. It's the 25th or nothing. They said if we can't promise the date, we can forget the order. I'm sorry, but that's final.
The 25th, blimey, that's pushing it.
Well, that's the thing, George. I just don't reckon we can do it.
And I don't reckon we can turn it down.
I tend to agree with you, Charlie. In the days I was starting this firm, an order that size would have been way beyond our wildest dreams. I think this proves we're going places. I think we've got to do it.
But we're flat out already. There's the Barnett job and those 3 export orders.
I know, Bert, I know. But have a look at it. See how you can reschedule. Talk it over with Dave Willis. And when you've got the best supervisor in the business there, he'll get it through for you if anyone can. Trust Dave. We both know he works ruddy miracles.
Trust Dave. That's what they all said. If the job's impossible or the schedule's ridiculous, leave it to Dave. He'd served his time, worked his way up, knew his tools, understood his blokes. And they liked him. You worked at a rate of knots, but it was fair dues, and you took home bonuses to match. So now that the works manager had brought Dave their latest hot potato, there were no prizes for guessing what he'd say.
Yeah, well, bit of a bugger, isn't it, Mr. Vance? Still, if I can hold up on one of these other jobs, I reckon we can handle it.
Thanks, Dave. The old man said you're a bloody miracle worker. I can see what he's on about.
Cost you mind. Rush job. Shop steward will reckon on highest average.
Yes, all right, fair enough. Just you sort it out with Eric and let me know, OK?
OK.
Well, I don't know. You gonna time this job, then?
Sorry, Eric. No way. Too much rush on it.
What about bonus? Highest average.
Eric, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I knew you'd see it my way.
Oh, Bert! Everything OK on that new job?
Well, we're having a go. I've rescheduled to shove it in front of the other stuff.
Great!
No promises, mind.
Oh, I knew you could do it, Bert.
I said no promises. You realise it's going to take the rest of the day to set it up. We can't even start running till first thing tomorrow.
Oh, look at the cliff.
Rather look at a bird myself.
God! Hey, come on, there you go.
Cliff, you don't want the these, son.
Go on. That's what you got. Oh,
Leave it out on it. Go on.
Go on, Cliff. Cliff. That's what you give ya. Nice, Cliffy, baby.
Isn't she pretty? Go on, we'll have it, eh?
Get off.
What's it all about, then, Cliff? Well, that's a good luck thing, isn't it? Engagement present, Sally give it to me.
I reckon you got all the luck, Cliff. Smashing bird yourself. Well, come on. You're going to stand here all day, then? All right, lads, settle down. We've got a lot of work to do. Morning, Eric.
Sorry, but you have to clean this lot up first.
What do you mean?
All this swarf and stuff.
Christ, Eric. I know you're the safety rep, but we got a rush job on. Do me a favour.
I'm sorry. I can't have the blocks working in this mess. It's dangerous.
All right, look, I'll tell you what. If we can get this job started, I'll organise a tidy up while they're working, OK?
OK. But mind you do.
Fred! Let's get all this swarf and stuff cleared up. Get Harry to give you a hand.
You know better than that, son. You're given goggles. For God's sake, use them.
Well, Dave don't always bother on a job like this.
Yeah, well, I do. You want to end up blinded?
They got well stuck into the job that morning, and progress looked pretty good. No mechanical bugs either, unless you counted the ventilation.
Eric! This bleeding fan still isn't working. Oh, still? All right. I'll have a word. It's not good enough, Dave. I told you about that fan 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Eric. You're quite right. It's down to me. I meant to ring maintenance. I'll do it now.
Dave, can you spare a minute?
You're a nutcase, you know that. You'll never afford a honeymoon in Spain. Well, not if we're going to have the dining room suite as well.
Yes, but look at the bonuses I'm getting, Sal. I mean, I'm on maximum average in this job.
No, love, Spain's a lovely idea and it's sweet of you. But really, if we've got any extra, we ought to be saving. I can see you're going to need a lot looking after.
Yes, well, that is the general idea, isn't it?
It's a lovely idea. They, give you a bad time, did they? Over my present?
Well, sort of.
Never you mind. It'll bring you lots of luck.
Dave doesn't seem to think I need much luck, not having got you anyway.
I always did like Dave.
Yeah, I think he fancies you, you know.
Does he? Well, I'm happy the way things are. You're my old bad penny and I'm stuck with you. And I love you, Cliff.
How are you, Martin? All right?
Ah, Dave.
Oh, hello.
How's it going?
Well, not too bad.
Right, it's warm in here, isn't it?
Oh, Christ, I forgot. The fan's on the blink. I must ring maintenance.
You reckon we'll complete this lot in time?
Early days yet, Mr. Barnes? But I think we should. Barring accidents.
All right, Dave.
Bloody well should be. It was me that saw you. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, sorry about this heat wave. I just got onto maintenance.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. I'm treating it like a summer holiday.
Thank you. Now I'd be grateful, Mr. Barnes, if you keep everyone available.
From this moment, the law took over. The factory inspector's duty was to determine whether what they'd reported as an accident had been, in fact, a crime. An offence against the Health and Safety at Work Act. And as his searches and his inquiries produced fact after damaging fact, the certainty grew. The management of this company would face criminal charges. For they had failed in their legal duty to ensure safe and healthy conditions of work.
Well, I told the supervisor about it day before yesterday, and again today. He said, sorry, forgotten to ring maintenance.
And you say you complained of the state of the floors as well?
That's right. This morning it was. I said the lads couldn't be expected to work the way it was. It was risky.
And did he act on your advice?
Well, sort of. There was a bit of a sweep-up.
Were many of the men working with their coats unbuttoned?
Well, most of us. Well, I know I was. It was like an oven in here, see? Well, the fan's on the blink.
Do I take it you mean that the supervisor tended to force the pace a little?
Well, I wouldn't put it that strongly. Dave Willis is a first-class supervisor. He gets things done. But we had this rush order, and he said he reckoned it could be pushed through.
So you told them to reschedule the work and get it done somehow?
Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. But Willis knew the score so far as safety was concerned. He knew his responsibility.
Again and again, in the questions and the answers, Dave Willis's name was coming up. For he'd been the man on the spot. He'd seen firsthand the state of things on his own shop floor. A crime had been committed. Morally, at the very least, the supervisor had been party to it.
Come on, drink your tea.
When the shock had subsided, the inspector questioned Dave. The questions were polite. The tone was gentle. But it felt like the longest hour he'd ever lived.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we found this tangled up on the machine. I thought you might need it.
We've been keeping him on his own, of course.
It was some weeks before they'd let Dave visit Cliff. For the first days, he'd been on the critical list. Some of the steel swarf had lodged in the eye sockets, they said, and they'd had to operate.
But a bit of human contact can help, you know. Naturally, he's in a pretty low state. You do realize that he's blind, of course. So, you know, be tactful.
Isn't there any hope? His eyes, I mean.
Oh, none, I'm afraid. Have you known him long?
Quite a long time.
Well, he'll be pleased to have a visit. It's at times like this one needs one's friend, isn't it? Hello, Mr. Matthews. We have a visitor for you.
Hello, Cliff. It's Dave.
Dave? Oh, hello, mate.
How goes it?
Oh, you know, so-so.
Yeah. Christ, I'm sorry, Cliff.
Hey, not your fault, mate. Besides...
What?
It's like the old joke, isn't it? Only hurts when I laugh.
Well, I just thought, you know, I'd pop along and that, and... Sally?
So? Sally? So you love?
Dave, Christ. Why?
It's almost uncanny how guilt carries its own unmistakable smell, filtering and spreading round a man's workmates and friends and neighbours.
Mr. Willis? Yeah? Excuse me, Mr. Willis. I'm from the Gazette. I wondered if you might spare a moment about that accident, you know? Thanks, Mr. Willis.
When you share out the blame for an accident at work, many different parties may qualify for some of it. The company is usually one.
What do you want to know, then?
And in this case, the victim himself was another, for working with an unbuttoned coat and a loose pendant, either of which could catch in machinery. Yet, like it or lump it, the supervisor is the principal person on the spot. Here on the shop floor, he is management. He shares the responsibility for seeing there's no dangerous litter, no faults in ventilation, no breaches of safety rules by the people under him. He doesn't even have to be called a supervisor. Any charge hand or foreman or manager in charge of any working area is subject to exactly the same regulations. It's part of his or her job, for instance, to help see that staff are trained in safety. So if someone took a fall over this, the supervisor could be riding for a fall as well. Not to mention a civil action for damages against the company. It's your duty to detect and report hazards. So if someone had got hurt by this one, you could be held to have failed in that duty. A forklift driver discards a broken pallet, and quite right too. But then he leaves it in a silly place. A fall over this could spell the downfall of his supervisor too. A canteen cooker thermostat, blocked by grease, fails. So a frying pan goes up. Who should have checked on cleaning and maintenance? You guessed it, the supervisor. And are the staff trained in the use of fire blankets and extinguishers? If not, then a part of the blame could be yours. Your staff may rely on long practice to know one dangerous chemical from another, but correct containers clearly labeled are the only method known to a court of law. When haphazard habits of any kind are allowed, the supervisor must share the blame for allowing them. It may seem unfair at times, but there you are. The law is crystal clear on your duty to do everything reasonably practicable to ensure health and safety at work. The ultimate responsibility belongs, of course, with senior management. Yet you, as the management representative on the spot, share that responsibility when it comes to training in safety, to enforcement of safety rules, and to the correction and reporting of any health or safety hazard. The factory inspectors, mind you, are fully aware that the supervisor has only one pair of eyes. But if you fail to use them with reasonable care, then they have their duty to enforce the will of Parliament.
Steps coming up, Mark. Yes, right. About 5 of them. Right, you got it?
Cliff finds people very kind. Trouble is, he begins to wonder whether Sally isn't just being kind as well.
Sal?
Yeah?
He keeps on saying, you mustn't feel you're tired, love, and she laughs and says, don't talk such nonsense.
Oh, come on. Really, love, don't be so stupid.
But then he says it again and again. And then, naturally, she starts to wonder.
For Christ's sake, just leave off.
And then they have little rows, and people overhear them and say what a hell of a basis for a marriage.
Yeah, the trouble is...
Mightn't it be better all round if they called it a day?
Well, look, you know, I'm getting a bit tired of all this martyr bit. Well, I mean, you know, what are you trying to say? You know, because... Well, I mean... Look, if you're trying to want to get rid of me or something, well, why don't you just come out with it and say it?
The firm's case comes to court on Tuesday. Probably there'll be a hefty fine. In the worst cases, they can send people to prison. But Dave's in his own kind of prison already, and the bars are all memories. Good old Dave, he gets things done. He gets us the bonuses. Leave it to Dave, he works miracles. Trust Dave.